A lot of exciting things happening behind the scenes here at Star Wars Rebels. Our Rebel Alliance is made up of Greg Weisman and Simon Kinberg. This is the strength that Lucasfilm is building to ensure the future of the Star Wars franchise. Well, one of the things I'm really excited about with Rebels is that I have a lot of the Clone Wars crew coming on to make this show, and they're a very experienced group. The design department's still all Clone Wars veterans. I've got Killian Plunkett back as art director. I've got Joel Aaron as my VFX supervisor wizard. Keith Kellogg supervising animation. Stuart Lee, my longest running episodic director from the Clone Wars, is back with me. And I actually brought on his brother Steve Lee, a veteran of LucasArts. We're taking it to the next level now. And one thing that all of us were excited about was the Empire. We had done the Republic, and we've done a lot of things that foreshadowed the coming Empire, but we had never really gone in and drawn TIE fighters or stormtroopers or Imperials, and that's something that we're having a great time doing on this series. I mean, when we were at Celebration Europe, the Star Destroyer version from Rebels came up, and it got the biggest cheer out of everything we showed. It really showed me how much fans love the Empire. They're great bad guys. They've got the look. They've got great design to their uniforms, are famous for saying things like, "You rebel scum."
You rebel scum.
But it's great to have those characters back in play. It reminds us all of a time that we knew as kids when the Empire were the bad guys. They were the ones to watch out for, and they're on their way back in a big way. Every era of the Star Wars saga seems to have its own marquee villain, a character that really captures the idea of the enemy and what evil is. Now, for most people I know that once Darth Vader hits the scene, he is the preeminent and the only one. But in this time period between episodes 3 and 4, there is the possibility that there are villainous characters that you have up till now been unaware of. So here for you exclusively, I would like you to take your first look at the evil which is the Empire's Inquisitor, tasked by Darth Vader to hunt down the remaining Jedi Knights.
If all you do is fight for your own life, then your life is worth nothing.
Hera, well, Hera's our pilot. The Ghost is her ship. She's the one that got it, bought it, swindled it out of someone, however you want it.
Whenever someone makes something look easy, it's enjoyable to watch, and I think she really makes flying the Ghost look easy.
You need to go warn them, Ezra.
My name is Vanessa Marshall. I play Hera on Star Wars Rebels. Hera guides this band of rebels.
Kanan, we have a small situation here.
She is a very strong-minded character.
If you care to blast one of those ties out of the galaxy, I don't think anyone would object. And at the same time, she's actually quite warm and nurturing.
Kind of the heart of the group, keeps everybody together when they would otherwise fall apart.
She knows how to talk to them to get the best out of themselves and to be part of that team. And that, to me, is the commander of a ship.
Hera definitely is a practical, no-nonsense character. She wears utilitarian flight gear. She isn't interested in being glamorous. Not that she isn't glamorous, but it's not a priority for her.
Then I love the fact that Hera is a Twi'lek. Plus, I've always liked Twi'leks. I don't know, I think it's because of their Leku.
Long head tails.
Shields down! Chopper, fix them!
The rebels are the way they are because they want to fight back, and the Empire has affected them all in personal ways. And it's uncovering what those things are that really lets you understand the characters in a deeper way.
Chop! Jam their tractor beam!
Every time we get a script, I'm breathless with anticipation. I cannot wait to read what's next. I need to be ready to take off or none of us stands a chance. Because I want to see where we're going too.
Your devotion to your master is admirable, but it will not save you. Nothing can.
So the Inquisitor is not a Sith. To be a Sith is more than just the look. He does tap into the dark side. He's cold, he's analytical. He doesn't get angry. His intensity is based on the purpose, the assignment.
How do you make him a dark side user with a red blade who is intimidating and physical, but is not a pale imitation of everybody's favorite baddie? And he went through many iterations.
Once we put the Utapauan head on, it all kind of fell into place, and suddenly there was this black-suited evil Inquisitor.
It felt real and human, and yet also a little creaturely and terrifying, and like it could be part of a nightmare.
Keep them contained. I want them alive.
It was really exciting to finally get to work with Jason Isaacs. He's fantastic to work with.
I've played a few unpleasant characters. Possibly you could call them villains, depends on your point of view. His job to do a very simple thing, which is track down and kill Jedi or Jedi survivors or people who have the Force.
And he's familiar with a lot of the Jedi ways and training tactics, and he uses that knowledge against Kanan.
He evokes classic villains that we've seen from Darth Maul through Darth Vader, but he isn't just a carbon copy of them. He has his own sort of unique style.
We all took care to make sure our villains have real presence and that our heroes just can't walk all over him. This isn't like cartoons that I grew up with in the 80s where you'd have the villain lose every week, and yet every week we're supposed to believe that he's some sort of threat. That's not what happens in Rebels. When the Inquisitor shows up, it means something, it's significant, and it's a definite challenge to our heroes.
In the course of my duties, I have encountered a rebel cell.
Agent Kallus is an ISB agent, an Imperial Security Bureau. So it's a little bit like the FBI, a little bit like military police.
And his job is to basically make sure everyone stays loyal. And anyone who isn't any whiff of disloyalty has to be cut out. So I guess you could safely say he's a bad guy. So yeah, that's me.
David brings a voice that is very authoritative and very commanding and very cool without betraying any sense of insecurity or weakness. And that's very much a function of what David is bringing to the part.
I am Agent Kallus of the Imperial Security Bureau.
He's pretty literally a rebel hunter. His whole task is to investigate any sort of instance of local insurgency and see if it's the beginnings of what could become a rebellion.
You really get the sense that he wants to achieve something greater, right, while he's working with the Empire, that for him this position is a way onto something much bigger, and he looks at whatever defeat he can claim over our rebels as some great prize that will help move him up the ranks of the Empire.
Order all stormtroopers to converge on the lower hangar. I'll meet them there.
His role is more of hunting people down, not big fleet battles. He wouldn't command a Star Destroyer.
So it's not him just shooting from afar and commanding people from afar, but he actually gets down into it, and I think you'll get to see his combat skills, which are pretty impressive.
Advance and fire!
The weapon that he is carrying is a modified version of Zeb's Honor Guard staff. He is very proficient in a weapon that isn't necessarily standard Imperial issue. Hopefully he'll take the audience by surprise, but he's certainly within the story. People aren't expecting an Imperial officer to sort of be this much of a physical threat.
Demonstration complete.
I like that one. Did you hear that one? Yeah. That was great.
Everyone involved realizes that there's a legacy to carry on, and we all take that very seriously.
Aim for shield generator and engines.
Nothing comes close to the reaction I get from my kids when I say, yeah, so I'm just going out to do some recording on Star Wars Rebels. Oh my God! That's what I get from my kids. I wish I had that when I would say I'm going off to film a scene in The Butler or something in Lincoln, but no, Star Wars Rebels gets the big scream.
I don't know that the Kallus would think what he's doing is really evil. He's just doing his job for the Empire, and he believes in the Empire. He is the kind of a poster boy for the Empire and its success and its efficiency.
Next time they make a move, we'll be waiting for them to snuff out that spark before it catches fire.
So Kallus, definitely an interesting character and one to watch out for, especially if you're a rebel.
Get back up there and fix the shields.
Well, Kanan, I like to call Kanan the cowboy Jedi.
Hi, I'm Freddie Prinze Jr., and I'm the voice of Kanan on Star Wars Rebels.
Kanan, I think, is the perceived head of this organization, of the crew of the Ghost. And when he tells you something, you got to do it.
Don't stop. Push off now.
Kanan has a lot of secrets, and he is very guarded about his past.
He's a young man that's adrift. He has no structure.
What I really like about Kanan is the fact that he is a Jedi, but he's not a Jedi in the traditional sense that we've had before on the show.
He's a little bit more relaxed in the strict Jedi rules.
You know, he's a little more rough around the edges.
A strong character that has sarcasm.
How about a little less attitude and a little more altitude? You suddenly have this cocky Jedi who's willing to shoot you as much as he is willing to, get you with his lightsabers.
He's dressed pretty simply, but, he's got the armor, so you could tell that he's kind of a fighter. The ponytail kind of harkens back to, samurai.
Kanan is a Jedi that is very much in this time period between episodes 3 and 4 of the films, given up being a Jedi.
Was forced underground by Order 66 in essence, and hasn't acted as a Jedi.
He's kept his lightsaber locked away, so he hasn't used it in a long time.
He can't be obviously a Jedi, because if he is, he's going to get killed.
And he's sort of forsaken the Jedi ways when all the Jedi were wiped out.
He saw the destruction of his way of life at the hands of Darth Vader and the Empire. He doesn't know how they can move forward and survive now as Jedi.
Iron time, now!
You'll start to see Kanan's abilities grow as well as he's starting to use forces and things that he hasn't in a long time.
He's a gunslinger that needs to put the gun away and pick up the sword again and fight for noble causes and selfless causes.
Whether it's with a lightsaber or a blaster, he's always willing to help out and take on the Empire.
Kanan is pretty much the coolest guy in the universe.